today between uThermal and ShoWTimE. So let's do this. We're going to start to the bottom left-hand side of the map. Our blue Terran player is going to be from Team Liquid. It is uThermal. And he is up against the red Protoss player to the bottom right-hand side from Armor Team. It's ShoWTimE. Now I do see us dropping a couple frames here and there, guys, so if that does persist, I'll try to lower the bitrate a bit, although for now, it looks to be somewhat watchable from my point of view. Let me know if it's a little bit frustrating, though, and I definitely can try to lower the bitrate a little bit further to help us out. But I think for the most part, we should be pretty much okay. But let us know if it's a little bit annoying, whatever else. And again, let me know what's up, let me know how you're doing, let me know how your day's been, who's ready for the weekend, is anyone doing anything exciting this weekend as well? Let me know what's going on. I'm not doing anything exciting this weekend apart from just casting loads of StarCraft. We're going to be live a lot this weekend. Obviously right now, live for the IEM replay casting. Tomorrow we're going to have the WCS, the WardiTV Weekly Season 1 Finals Group D. And that's going to be featuring Stats, Hero, Jachi, and Snoot. So that's tomorrow from midday CET. We're going to have a Drop Zone Cup in the evening, which is a new fun RTS MOBA sort of game. And we've been enjoying a lot of that, so we're going to run a cup for that tomorrow evening. Sunday we're going to have Go for SC2, followed by a bit of a sub-tournament and viewer tournament evening as well. So that's what's going on for me this weekend. Let me know what's going on for you guys as well in the chat. Got Andyman885, or 80,085, I guess makes more sense to say. Going to be playing D&D this weekend. Well, that's awesome. I always wanted to play D&D, but I never found, like, a group of people to play with. You know, it's, I guess it's kind of difficult to find that initial group of people to play with and whatever, you know? I never found that for myself, so maybe someday in the far future, you'll play some D&D. It'd be pretty fun. Especially nowadays, I could just play online. If I actually suggested this to some of my friends, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool," but no. Like that was that was basically the response. But like, "Oh yeah, that'd be really cool," but no, let's not. I was like, oh, okay, guys. Sorry for suggesting. I just thought it could be fun. I'd be terrible, anyways. Like, I'd be the person who's like, you know, these guys all have like a regular schedule. Like every Thursday, we're gonna meet up to play D&D. I'd be the guys like, oh, sorry guys, I can't this Thursday because a random tournament just showed up that I gotta cast. So, you know, I wouldn't be very good as a D&D a group member of a D&D campaign. I really wouldn't. The Duke of Stash in the chat, I got a puppy, so hanging out with her. Well, that's awesome. New puppy in the house. What sort of puppy is it? And you got tickets to see Regina Spectre. Well, that is an exciting weekend. New puppy and a constant, like, crazy. Crazy. And here's me just talking about StarCraft. Alright, well, let's actually do some talking about StarCraft. Phoenix on the way up from this Stargate-based opening of ShoWTimE here right away. I'm going to see uThermal. Well, his opening is just a very standard Reaper-based scout in these early stages, coming across, and actually is just going to die instantly. So uThermal with the Reaper expand doesn't pick up much information with the initial Reaper, following up with a Widowmine, Marines, and just setting up not even into a medevac but a Viking to help him defend early. What did he see? Nothing at all? Alright, so Viking early going to be very interesting, especially against ShoWTimE. He's going for such early Phoenix. It'll be very interesting to see how, you know, well, what this turns into, I suppose, as we have the Phoenix just going to patrol for here for now. I mean, ShoWTimE's just sort of waiting for the first medevac to show up so you can shut it down nice and quickly. Phoenix actually very good at shutting down that first medevac in terms of pushing it away and so on. But it is very frustrating if the Widowmine gets burrowed. If you don't manage to lift the Widowmine, then all of a sudden you have to build an Oracle, and it just takes so long to get that detection up. You're going to lose. You're going to take at least 2 shots from the Widowmine. That's frustrating to have to pull workers away, not just once but twice. So it's and to build an Oracle if you didn't want to build an Oracle as well, right? So, you know, a lot of the powers of the Oracle is that if you build it first, it hits pretty early. It can be a bit difficult to deal with for the Terran. If you're building it after 2 Phoenix, it's obviously going to hit so much later, and you've used up energy to revelate right away, so he knows it's coming. There's just so little chance of it really getting too much done, as we see ShoWTimE popping down the 3rd Nexus over here as well. Hasn't really seen much of the Terran play, if we're going to be honest right now. I mean, he's been in, he saw like it was going to be an expansion with a Reaper or so. And that's pretty much all he saw, as we see actually Phoenix going to fly by. Viking does miss them, which is fortunate for the Viking. Viking definitely can't take on the 3 Phoenix all at once. He's going to miss them again as he starts to come back over here, looking to maybe pick off a Prism or so that may head towards his main base at some point. Just putting that Viking where it's most likely going to be useful. And actually, then sends it across the map again. I guess he could land the Viking, pick off a couple of probes, would be a bit of a frustration for him, so that's something he could look to do in the next few moments. This Marine from uThermal at the front, just trying to keep an eye on what's going on as well. Doesn't see anything just yet. Those Phoenix do pick off just a couple of Marines already. We actually have a third Nexus up here from ShoWTimE about to finish. As we mentioned before, that's something uThermal not going to scout just yet, though. This one Marine just comes to the front, doesn't actually check the further away third base. As the medevac of two Widow Mines inside actually does manage to get across a little bit to this side of the map too. There's that Viking landing, 3-4 kills already. I mean, he knows this Phoenix here, so he knows that it's probably going to die no matter what at some point. But he's going to cause a bit of a distraction as well. Widow Mines thinking about what they want to do. Overcharge will just be popped preemptively, and well, it stops those Widow Mines from ever managing to unload and unburrow. Instead, they just unburrow over here as, I guess, uThermal may try to set up a little bit of a trap. We actually can see the mothership core will get hit. And take that a little bit lower, as the medevac does try to get away. Again, obviously, Phoenix are very good at shutting down and chasing those medevacs, so if he does know where it is, it will probably fall, and that's what uThermal is mostly aiming to avoid at this point. So Phoenix still just collecting up to the south side. Second Widow Mine went off as well. Didn't actually kill anything, so I'm not sure what it went off on. As we just wait for the Observer to come out, so you can actually start lifting these up and start closing them out. Ah, it went off on a Phoenix. Okay, so there's Widow Mines coming in. He can lift now. But yeah, it went off on a Phoenix. Doesn't kill it, but does take it pretty low, so yeah, I mean, the Widow Mines don't do much. They take a Phoenix and the Mothership core a bit lower in health. It's not the best of situations, you know. It's not brilliant. It's not like uThermal's going to be like, yes, brilliant. Some lower health Protoss units. So, you know, this is exactly what I wanted. I mean, he probably could have got the Widow Mines away if he really wanted to in the medevac, so a little bit unfortunate, but either way, he's pushing forwards now, and, well, he's actually pushing into what is a lot of map control from ShoWTimE. Has so many observers around in Phoenix too. He sees pretty much any attack moving forwards. As we see a scan on top of this. ShoWTimE just going for that very standard Phoenix Adept composition. We saw a lot of this at IEM Katowice. One of the things which Protoss players were really turned to in terms of playing standard against Terrans. So, we're going to be seeing him going into this now. It's actually kind of strange that uThermal is being so aggressive, because now that Glaives and +1 is finished especially, this is when ShoWTimE is probably looking to be aggressive and to fight until, you know, all the rest of it too, and to start transitioning behind this as well. So, a little bit of an interesting one to see. A couple of Widow Mines do get lifted up. That's the important part of the Phoenix here. We do see a lot of Phoenix being target fired down though, and that's really nice from uThermal. Taking off 3-4 Phoenix already. Now he lifts up with the medevacs, and he'll just go boost towards the main base, somewhere where he can get to and start to unload nice and quickly, perhaps while staying away from the Adepts, so that the Phoenix can't just chase him down, you know, altogether. His third CC is down, as you see at this drop. Actually, a double drop at the same time. This isn't the same medevac that was just over here. They're still over there. As you see the Marines coming back in, and that's another nice Phoenix targeted down. The more of those he kills, the better it gets for him, as these Marines will sit tight, and it's another Phoenix falling. ShoWTimE is losing a lot of these Phoenix, man. I mean, that's really quite costly at this point with the amount he's lost. A little bit insane how many he's been losing, so he does have to sharpen up a little bit in that regard. As you see some more Adepts joining up towards, well, joining up together on this right-hand side of the map. Two more Adepts moving down to join up as well, and well, this Prism just sat to the north side. We're going to see some more Marines and Widow Mines from uThermal starting to move out towards the front. I mean, ShoWTimE, though, this is where he wants to start being aggressive, you know. This is his strength in the game when he does have a lot of Adepts. He did lose a lot of Phoenix, but he still has some to lift up Widow Mines, etc. This is where he can start really being aggressive. However, drops continuing to keep ShoWTimE busy. And it's another Phoenix going down. Just to target another one as well. Gets it very low. Doesn't quite pick up the kill. The Adepts do shade into this third base. uThermal completely out of position here. And so SCVs will begin to fall. A Widow Mine as well. Going to shade up this ramp, and well, more Adepts warping in. uThermal might be in a little bit of trouble. He is dropping to the top side, starting to stim forwards in towards this third base. As uThermal, I mean, what does he actually do for the best right now? I'm not too sure. He has to raise his depots to stop these SCVs from getting, stop the Adepts from getting in. I mean, his SCVs kind of get caught over here as well, though. He'll lift up a few of them to try and just, well, save what he can. He actually missed these three on the low ground too. 21 workers killed at the same time, however, killing the third base of ShoWTimE. So that's about to go down. And both players taking heavy hits at this point. uThermal will have to lift up this orbital command. It's getting very low. uThermal, I mean, if he loses that, I mean, he could have been dead. In fact, is it going to die? Oh my god, 7 health. Drops the mule. Going to burn down anyway. uThermal really was so slow on lifting that up. It actually would have been a bit of a steal if he'd managed to keep that alive, honestly, with the way it was going. As you see Marines pushing forwards. A couple of probes going down already. Overcharge pops, and, well, Adepts over here. Gonna look to start cleaning this up. A few Widow Mines will make life difficult, though, especially because there's only 2 Phoenix left in the game. And it's not like there's so many of them to just lift up all of these Widow Mines right, you know, immediately. Just quickly lift them up and just go from there. More Adepts coming over to the right-hand side. 2 Phoenix from ShoWTimE set. Just down to the south as we see these Adepts continue to work their way through the Marines. A little bit more damage done. Widow Mines still just sat here And that's what those adepts, well, they don't want to shade on top of them, that's for sure, but let's see what they do want to do in the next couple of moments. Do we have an observer nearby? We do, so he's going to shade on top just so he can kill them off quickly, which works out. An overcharge kills this medevac, and uThermal is in a little bit of trouble. He's down 20 workers, he's down army supply quite heavily. He's now seen Stalkers warping in, +2 attack and a blink upgrade from ShoWTimE. We're going to see some Liberators going to come in position with this drop as well, and so, well, the last two Phoenix will now drop down dead. And uThermal just on the 2 bases here against, well, still only a 2 base Protoss play, although starting to take a third. The Liberators will get shut down now too, and it's a good defense by ShoWTimE. Doesn't take too much damage, turns this away and just stops uThermal from fighting a way back into this game number 1 so far. Two adepts come in, they do pick off a Marine as well to the right hand side. 6 probes killed in total so far. Still these 3 medevacs looking to see if they can find an opening. Mothership core very low and doesn't have energy for an overcharge. Doesn't go down as adepts will start to shade forwards. Upgrades are even in this situation, so they're not really going to be able to change too much or to favor either player. Another drop from uThermal to the top side, still just dropping around, seeing what you can do. Still just sat on 2 bases, and I imagine you'll just stay on 2 bases until his main base mines out. Then you'll just lift up and relocate that to the 3rd base instead, and just roll from that point forwards. At this point in the game, in this sort of situation, you don't really have the economy to just rebuild a 3rd command center. It's going to be very difficult for you to do. Still drop over here in the main base of Widowmine is actually going to come back into play here. We'll target down a good couple of those adepts and a good bit of splash too on the rest of them. You see Stalkers pushing forwards. The Liberators are setting up though, and well, actually the Marines and Marauders find the Stalkers here rather than the adepts, and that's nice. Getting rid of the Stalkers quickly is really going to help, because the Liberators will clean up so much else afterwards. And you can see that ShoWTimE is starting to lose a heck of a lot as these adepts get taken down by the Libs. What's left over? 5-6 adepts, really not that many. And ShoWTimE, from a large army supply advantage, is suddenly down in army supply. And uThermal still has a drop on the other side of the map to work with here. Still just trying to slow ShoWTimE down. Here he is up to the 3 bases. He's actually got another drop in the natural, picking off more and more of these probes. Just lifts up, backs away again. Trying to do as much as he can with as little as possible so that he can just try and get back into this. uThermal not minding with these SCVs still on the natural. Finally gets that sorted out and starts to fix it. Main base will lift and relocate as well, as we expect it to at this point in the game. Don't expect it to just sit in the main while it's being mined out, right? So that's going to relocate down towards the 3rd base. Let's see a couple more sentries just warping in, and well, uThermal's starting up a little bit of a push here. Still dropping across the map, but starting to lose these medevacs. And then naturally be a bit more successful. Takes down a couple of probes, and well, there's the blink forwards. There's a couple of Stalkers will go down in lieu of this, so a couple of Stalkers do fall there. And at the same time though, uThermal's on position on the 3rd base, and so the 3rd Nexus falls once more. uThermal keeping this at 2 bases apiece, but of course he can relocate that command center as he has done to have a bit fresher economy. And so a 20 worker lead still from ShoWTimE may not be enough, as we see Widowmine's going off at the front. The depths are shaded through. uThermal just stims towards the sentries and the Stalkers here, and you can see that these Liberators are continuing to pick off quite a lot. It's very, very close, but still 2-3 Liberators remaining, and everything is disappearing for ShoWTimE. All of a sudden, he has no army supply left over. Without a fresher base to mine from, his income is very, very low, lower than uThermal's, probably just because of the fact he doesn't have mineral patches to mine from, and so that is very close to just being GG. Liberators will unsiege. I mean, I guess ShoWTimE, if you can buy a bit of time, can maybe come back into this, but I think uThermal ahead in army supply now, with a fresh 3rd base and meals on his side. I think he can just about make this happen. An absolutely insane game number 1, ping-ponging between the players. Here we go, Marines and a few Marauders sitting forwards. Now will actually be the moment where ShoWTimE types out GG. uThermal does pick up game number 1, but man, this was not easy for him at all. It was actually very difficult for him. GG, uThermal picks up the first game of this best of 3. And we'll be jumping into game. We'll be changing it up to kind of cast kind of separate matchups a bit. So you don't just cast like 5 TvPs in a row or something. So, yeah, get your votes in. Vote for what you might want to see. Again, the games that are listed are all the games that either weren't covered on mainstream or weren't covered by us the other day when we first did this kind of IEM replay casting. So, get your votes in. Let us know what you want to see. Right now, I think Alive Stats doing pretty well. Several Patients, Several Pili doing quite well. Some cool games in there. Solar versus Snoot. I think Ryung Snoot's still in there as well. There's some Zest games mixed in. A couple innovation matches which are yet to be covered. And there's some games in there which you guys can check out. So feel free to. And just vote away. And again, I don't know how long we'll cast for tonight. Maybe 3-4 hours. Maybe go a little bit longer if we're feeling it. But a couple hours, 3-4 hours at least, and we'll just get through as many series as possible. So 5, 6, 7. I think we did 9 the other day, and we casted for like a straight 6 hours, which was pretty intense, but it was pretty neat. Turns out to be pretty fun, really. So yeah, it's ShoWTimE here, just scouting around, looking to see what's up and what's going on. Probe is just checking to see what is up right now, as we have the first Reaper starting to build. So first Reaper on the way out. We're going to be seeing the side core community being about halfway done. Nexus is about halfway done in the natural expansion as well from ShoWTimE, so just setting up into this, and well, here we go. This probe from ShoWTimE is starting to move out onto the map after scouting out what uThermal has been up to. So I wonder if he gets up to anything cheeky here in the early stages. I mean, he's putting this probe in a little bit of an awkward spot, right? I guess he might just try to put down a pylon in the early stages, pylon rush a little bit, apply some pressure with his first, as his mothership core and first adept comes out. But I don't imagine he's really going to commit to too much. I imagine he'll just be, that's pretty much the be-all and end-all of what he's going to be going for, I think. So here we go, wait for this probe to come into play, because the mothership core is finished, and well, the mothership core will start to head down towards the bottom left-hand side of the map, so starting to get across here and look to see what's up and what's going on. And do you see the reactor is finishing up as well now for uThermal, his opening. I'll just go into the reactor right away. So he's actually going to have a couple of Marines to help out against this initial probe and so on. But other than that, I mean, the Widowmine is not going to help out too much. So we'll see how much he's going to end up losing, as he might just shut down the probe instantly. Perfect. uThermal kills off that probe, and that's a great start for him. I mean, the probe being dead means that no pylon, and it just instantly makes life so much easier for him. Immediately after killing that, he goes across the map with the Reaper. Looks to pick up some information for himself, which he's been limiting himself on to make sure that the pylon rush isn't going to be too successful. So a good start from uThermal, doesn't take any damage early. Starport now finishing. And Starport will start up a Viking once again. So again, Marines, a Widowmine, a Viking. Oh, dead mothership core. And that's a nice pickup as well, actually. That Widowmine goes off, hits, and the Marines are nearby to follow up as well. So that's really nice. What a great start from uThermal. Denies the pylon rush, kills the mothership core. I mean, instantly, that's 100 ShoWTimE has to reinvest into. It means that all the time he doesn't reinvest into it, well, he's already lost some energy on the mothership core that was built up. But the longer he doesn't reinvest into it, even more time, basically, where he's not going to have, he's not going to be accruing extra overcharges and so on. So this has turned out very good for uThermal in the first 3-4 minutes of this game. You'd be very happy with how this is playing out so far. Second barracks comes down, and well, his follow-up here, just looking to get onto that tech lab quickly, it would seem, getting towards stim pack or combat shields, perhaps even if he wants to go for an earlier tank push. I saw TY doing that a little bit, where he invests into the combat shields before the stim pack, and that allows him to go in towards the, he allows him to go in towards a few tanks quickly, and with those few tanks, well, you can get quite a lot done. Second tech lab as well from uThermal. So he's also going to go stim pack and combat shields at similar timings, and just look towards a bit more of a kind of just bio-focus push rather than siege tank focus push. Where he's going to have, probably may still have a couple of tanks mixed in. He'll have stim and combat shields at a similar time as double medevac. He's actually just going to look to go straight into Widowmines again. So uThermal, did he scout anything in particular? Well, no, not really. Maybe just feels as though this might be one of the better ways to go about things. And yeah, I guess that, it's not a bad idea, right? He's going to start helping to kill this pylon as well, which actually ShoWTimE wants. He wants to be able to get out of his 2 bases and on towards his 3rd nexus very shortly, it would seem. As again, Phoenix is building up right here. RoboBay is on the way down from ShoWTimE too. So RoboBay on the way down, and a couple more pylons just continuing to build on up right here as another adept just chasing down that Reaper. Probe comes in to try and block it. He really wants to kill this. I guess he really wanted to maybe stop him from starting the Stargate, because he has been, again, keeping these Phoenix pinned back, because, well, Phoenix early in the game can't do too much anyways. So just keeping it hidden would have been nice, just for a little while longer. Catch uThermal a bit off guard, give uThermal less time to react. As you can see right now, uThermal with the Widowmines coming out is already into a pretty good response against this. Actually, Widowmines are pretty much one of the better responses you can have against Adept Phoenix, because they're pretty much the main way in which you're going to defend going in towards the mid stages of the game too. So already having them early is obviously just going to help you out that little bit extra. Clusters on the way out of this Robo facility being chrono boosted here. The extended thermal lance continue to come in, as well as a couple of gateways dropping down in the main base. So Forge drops down too, now just to the side of this assimilator, and well, again, lots of structures just coming up as our Protoss player establishing a 3rd base. He just wants to set up in towards nice solid 3 base tech, economy, and everything else. uThermal Well, he hasn't thought about his own third base just yet, but he also hasn't got a 4th and 5th rack, so third CC may just come down very shortly here as he starts to push across. Everything so far for this game has really been built towards what is quite a sizable army right now out of uThermal, starting to come in towards the upper right-hand side. So there's quite a lot of bio, quite a lot of mines as well, the Viking 2 overhead. And uThermal begins to push forwards to see what he can do with this. That scan coming down, well, gives him an idea as to what is on this third base. Widow mines will burrow. I mean, only one sentry, so it's not like there's a lot of force fields or anything to be used. Well, there is the first force field thrown down. That's going to soak up a lot of the... Well, it's going to use up a lot of the potential sentry energy right there, so... It's a little bit painful for him, I guess, right from the get-go. Let's see, Marines do just sit behind the mineral line and force some probes to pull away. Pylon will go down as well. Just cancel it. Ooh, he actually just takes the fight, and uThermal doesn't target fire, so the Pylon stays alive at the very end. uThermal keeping this going for himself. There's another Stalker Warp in. We see a scan on top of the army once more. Stein's going to stand a little bit more to the left-hand side. He does get rid of one Pylon, backs away. Overcharge helping out. Widowmine just connecting on a single Zealot, not really being too influential. Seeing the Colossi early, he's just going in towards Viking production nice and quickly too, reacting those out already. uThermal going to maintain a bit of an upgrade lead as well as +1 armor starting a little bit further ahead than a Protoss player's upgrades. You can see Medivacs to drop around, thinking about where they might want to go. They're going to start heading all the way over to the right-hand side. So they're going to start heading all the way over here. Another Widowmine drops, and that's still uThermal trying to figure out how exactly he wants to do this. A few Vikings, a couple of Medivacs. Still just setting on up. And a Medivac just starting to heal up some more of these Marines. uThermal just unloads over here, but you know, having this spotted in general, I mean, it's like a little bit less easy for him when it comes to trying to get damage done. ShoWTimE only went up to 4 Phoenix for this game, so obviously had a much different plan in mind. Goes to the Colossi much faster, and rather than playing Phoenix to death, just plays it out very differently. So changing up the strategy for game number 2, as you have a lot of these units still just gathered up together, and a single Marine pushing forwards gets taken down by a couple of Colossi, and nothing too unexpected there as we still see these Marines working through the back rocks. A good amount of army in position from ShoWTimE as well. He's already very well split up right now, making sure he's just going to be everywhere he needs to be to shut down the potential aggression of uThermal. So these Marines continue to pull back down towards the bottom left-hand side, and now we're going to be seeing this command center finishing up. Going to see an orbital command starting to morph on in. A Viking coming in from this starport as well, and just a couple more upgrades finishing up, +1 armor, concussive shells. All going to be finishing over the next few moments. Just continue to set up towards the mid-game setup for uThermal for the most part. As well as ShoWTimE. His army looking pretty okay. I mean, uThermal took a fight earlier where he did lose a lot of Widow mines, and I mean, he didn't trade too well. I mean, what did he really pick off? A Zealot or 2? He lost a lot of Widow mines, he lost a good few Marines. Resources lost in this game definitely favorable towards our Protoss player. You can see here, 50 Marines, 6 mines, I think is the most important part of this. I mean, 6 mines is actually a large portion of the army that you want to have up at this point. And while it maybe isn't the best of compositions for Widow mines to play against, they're still going to be somewhat useful. Unless you let them just sit in Colossus fire from a distance, in which case they're not really going to do anything at all. Single Widow mine burrows already, a second one now too, just beneath these Medivacs, and well, there's a few of those Marines stemming forwards to start working their way through this assimilator. So again, a little bit of damage being done. Phoenix to the top side, moving around too, and well, uThermal looking for a way to try and get damage done with these Vikings, trying to get a shot off onto the Colossi before the fight really starts. And ShoWTimE being very careful to keep them towards the back here. Now uThermal will find the opportunity, starts to target them down. We'll get rid of one here, but the Phoenix and the Stalkers combined, will it be enough to just get rid of all of these Vikings? It seems like it might be. Only one Colossus going down, now a second one as well, but it leaves him with 2 to work with. And ShoWTimE is actually very convincingly going to take down this fight. As Phoenix chased down one last Viking, all of a sudden, uThermal doesn't have much left on the map at all. Trying to retreat, but actually, where does it even go? He was trying to get back up here, but he couldn't make it happen because the army from ShoWTimE was already coming into position, so he has to lift up instead. I mean, he could lift up to his own natural to play defensively. Instead, he's going to try and drop across the map. But then how do you defend against this back at home? Well, I just don't think he really does. He's making a couple liberators to try and maybe hold the main base. It's going to turn into a bit of a base trade. Let's see what ShoWTimE can do. Already the third CC. We'll try and float off to the left-hand side, but ShoWTimE will make sure to get rid of this here as a Disruptor comes forwards. It'll buy a little bit of time for ShoWTimE. As we're going to be seeing now, well, 1-2 pounds getting overcharged. uThermal will not slow down too much for this. We'll get rid of this Disruptor as well. Probes being pulled in. I mean, honestly, with uThermal already losing his own third, that's not too much of an issue for ShoWTimE already. And actually, with this amount of adepts, he's pushing uThermal's army back as well. First Liberator is about to come into play, but what are they really going to add to this at this point? There's just so much for the Pros player. Wouldn't mind just one of them getting taken down by the Disruptor, but it's still something else that's now no longer on the map. And ShoWTimE playing this very safely as he actually pulls back towards the center here. ShoWTimE will be pulling back in towards the middle, and it's an interesting couple of moments to see Phoenix continue to work their way through medevacs. I mean, this army over here is just eventually going to die. Another medevac falls. I mean, this drop into the main base really doesn't have that much life to it anyways. And in fact, I mean, there's so few Marines that these Phoenix are still even sticking around, continue to trade. There's one overcharge coming down on one of the healthier pylons. I mean, it still falls, but Adepts come forwards too, and eventually the Stalkers will clean this out. And then what does uThermal do? I mean, he's moving out from his natural expansion now. I mean, he killed off this gold base. He didn't quite get rid of this base over here, so ShoWTimE is still on 3 bases, so he's still up in that regard. Phoenix helping to lift up units here and just helping to clean out once again. As we see the last little bit of this drop from uThermal now completely shut down. As he sends 50 army supply down, he's going to push across the map just to try and make anything happen. He has no medevacs left over. Obviously been focused on Viking/Liberator production and losing most of the medevacs during that last drop. So suddenly he's in a really tough position as ShoWTimE just needs to find one way to fight in towards this. He'll blink away from that first Wood and Mine connection as well. And again, just making the most of his micro ability and just getting the most out of his units here. One less Wood and Mine to go off in the fight is how he's going to view that one. And that could be just what changes the pace of the game slightly. As we're going to see, well, first Liberator going to start going down very quickly here. uThermal doesn't even wait for the fight to end. He knows this is going to be over. And that's going to be GG's. ShoWTimE picks up game number 2 and ties it up 1 apiece. And I'm going to jump into this one right away here. uThermal versus ShoWTimE. So we're going to kick off to the top right-hand side of the map. Blue Terran player, give it up for uThermal. And he's going up against the Red Protoss, the bottom left-hand side of the map. It's ShoWTimE. There's some people in the chat. Here we go. Man, it's, yeah, it's just been so quiet the last few days. And I know we've not maybe had as many viewers as so on, but man, we had like 400, 500, 600 viewers, and it's just been so dead in here. So what's up, everyone? Andy Man saying what's up. He's been here since the start. Most magnificent potatoes falling asleep. Well, okay, there's one person I'm sending to sleep. What's up, hash slinging slasher? Sweet, I missed these. Missed what? The Wardy streams, or you missed these games? Obviously, the games we're bringing you are pretty much the games that weren't broadcast on the IEM mainstream. They might have been broadcast in alternate languages, for example, but there's no guarantee that they weren't. And there's no, I mean, I could find out, but it'd take a lot of work in the sense that it doesn't really matter anyways. If they weren't cast in English, that's good enough for me. So let's cast some more of them. Again, you can vote for the games we're seeing, guys. !IEM in the chat will give you a straw poll where you can just throw in as many votes as you want. Let us know what you want to see. You know, vote for all the series that sound interesting to you, and we'll cast, again, as many as possible here tonight. I have had a little bit of a weird throat today. Like, I don't know what it is. It wasn't really like a sore throat. It's being kind of weird. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like a sore throat. I had like a bit of a tickle in the. I don't know. It just feels as though it was like a bit raw. I feel like raw is the word I would use to describe it. I don't know if that really makes sense. But yeah, do get your votes in as well. What's up, Bunny in the chat, or Free Unny, in case the free isn't meant to be a B. And what's up, Optimus Prime as well. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for dropping in and checking out the action today. Let me know what's up and let me know what's going on, of course, if you've got anything fun planned for the weekend, and so on and so on. As this SCV gets chased down by an Adept. Poor guy. Didn't sign up for this, man. He is going to fall. But yeah, let me know if you've got anything planned for the weekend, anything fun coming up, or anything like that. Let me know maybe what games you're voting on in the votes. Andy Man voting to try and see some mana games. Yeah, let us know what's up. Let me know what's going on and all of that sort of stuff, I guess. As yeah, I mean, it's Friday night. Maybe you're doing something fun tonight. Maybe you got plans. Maybe you're just gonna sit down and relax for the weekend with some good StarCraft. Our plan for the next couple of days, I sort of said this a little bit earlier, but we do have a lot of StarCraft and streams coming up over the weekend, so make sure you stay tuned as well. If you haven't already, although I'm sure the majority of you guys have at this point, make sure you hit that follow button to see when we are going live with all of our streams. Something you guys might not have done in terms of keeping up to date with us is actually joined our Discord server. We're going to start using the Discord server a lot more frequently, so if you want to join us on Discord, then !Discord in the chat will give you the link, and we're going to be doing more, we've got bots set up to announce when we're going live for the stream, going to be posting some of the YouTube videos in there and so on, just in general. using it as a place to really get in touch if you guys, keep you up to date. And I'll be there as well if you guys just want to talk or whatever else as well. So feel free to, you know, hit me up, say hi, ask any questions you might have in Discord. I'd love to answer you guys. I'm in there a lot more often than I ever was before, so do check it out. Oracle comes across here, and this is obviously a bit of a different opening from ShoWTimE, although it will once again go in towards the Phoenix as a follow-up, as this time uThermal will take the opportunity to drop across the map, and well, let's see if this drop can get rid of this third Nexus. If he gets rid of the pylon, well, it might be very difficult for ShoWTimE to keep a hold of. 3 workers killed so far by the Oracle. So 3 workers going down to the Oracle so far, and well, the Marine's going to keep on pushing forwards and try and just do a little bit more right now. As he actually might try and get cancelled on the Nexus. The Adepts are not moving forwards. Here comes the, well, now there's 5 Adepts, 2 Phoenix as well, and I think very smartly it's going to be uThermal picking up and just starting to back away. So uThermal backs off here and looks to see what else he can do as he continues on. Bunny in the chat, hashtag Wardy and chill, that's what we like to hear. Wardy and chill on a Friday night. ShuckNasty69 playing ST, listening to the casts until your girlfriend gets off work so you can go laser tag him. Well, that's a planner. That's a plan right there. Laser tagging, got me hooked. Not a bad evening for yourself. What's up, Black Exo Red as well? How you doing? And Baptist Prime saying he remembers voting for this game as well. Nice. Nice. Always good when you see a game you voted for, right? Voted says Busey as well. Perfect, guys. Get the votes coming in, because again, do you want to bring the series which you want to see? Otherwise, I'm going to pick the series, which is maybe not the series you guys want to watch. As we see, well, things heating up over here. Wouldn't mind starting to go off. Marines in a bit of a weird space. Oh, that's a nice connection. Only one more dead Adept, of course, but it does splash nicely onto a few more of them here. And, well, the Marines for now keeping a frontal position. That's going to keep them viable in these upcoming engagements and just keeps the threat on, keeps the pressure on. For Liberator setting up too, this is a little bit of a crazy start to the game already on honor grounds and cross spawns. I'm going to see another Widowmine just on a burrow. I mean, Widowmine starting to come off cooldown as well, so that means ShoWTimE does have to be careful. Losing the pile at the front here earlier was kind of painful, right? Because now this Mothership Core isn't really going to do much, because if he wants to kind of, well, I mean, uThermal doesn't want to push any further than being able to damage this Nexus, right? So, you know, he doesn't, you know, this Mothership Core is not going to add anything at all, no overcharges, and that's going to be uThermal still working his way through this third Nexus, building a third CC in the same time back at home. So building that up back at home right here, and all these Marines, they do get rid of this Nexus, so there we go, third base killed, and uThermal, well, how much longer can he sit here for? He's got a Liberator, he's got a tank now joining him, he's got a good amount of Widow Mines. You see this Oracle is going to be heading back towards the Terran base. I mean, that's the only thing which ShoWTimE has out on the map at this point. It's the only thing that's really doing anything to slow uThermal down. And actually, uThermal still no real defense for this, as he has to pull away SCVs from the natural expansion, as well, they really aren't going to be doing very much at all. So 5, 6 workers killed, 7 workers killed. Actually, this Oracle going huge and really just keeping ShoWTimE in this game more so than anything else, because if he wasn't killing these workers now, well, he would have been in a very weak position. That's 15, 16 workers killed just with this wave of the attack, but he'd already killed 8 already. 24 kills on the Oracle. That is absolute insanity. Oracle getting a lot of value here. A lot of value for the Oracle right now, as uThermal still without an engineering bay even. Does he? I just don't think he has an engineering bay, and that's why we're not seeing any missile turrets being built. At the same time, here we go, pushing forward. ShoWTimE lifts up the siege tanks. uThermal has Marines underneath as well. Widow Mines are going off to help. And actually, as the siege tanks drop back down, and the last few Adepts will start to fall, uThermal now targeting Phoenix. He's going to force the Phoenix to drop the tanks off once again. He's cleaned up everything on the ground. It's only the Phoenix that remain. And ShoWTimE, well, he does lose a lot of army there. So uThermal taking heavy hits on his economy, but has a third CC to rebuild from. Interesting situation, because actually uThermal didn't look as though he had enough to kind of take this fight over here, but he still manages to win it out. And now he still holds what is a fairly soft contain on ShoWTimE. You know, he's not pushing rapidly in towards ShoWTimE's bases, but he's just stopping ShoWTimE from coming down towards the third Nexus. So it's very frustrating as, oh my god, this Oracle coming in, 30 kills. Oracle going absolutely huge so far here in game number 3. So this Oracle is really going in, really doing a lot of damages. Well, Phoenix and ShoWTimE still just moving around a little bit here. You can see the +1 upgrade on the Forge, the Resonating Glaives on the Twilight Council starting to upgrade. So he's getting in towards that Phoenix Adept composition. It's taken him a while because he's being slowed down by this little bit of an attack. And there are those Phoenix starting to go towards the upper right-hand side. So ShoWTimE heading towards the upper right. Look to see what else is going on. Look to see what else is happening. See if he can get some further damage done. Finally, missile turrets coming in from uThermal. It's taken him a while, but he's finally getting them as we see him lifting up A few Marines right away. The missile turret finishes him, so he'll just jump in towards the main base instead, where there is more turrets, but he'll probably still find himself a worker or two every now and then. uThermal still just sat out the front, though, and again, all this time, ShoWTimE just sits on only the 2 bases, building up, looking for ways to break out. Dark Shrine coming down from him as well, about halfway done. And the depths, they're spreading out. Looks like he wants to go for it. He does target down those Widow Mines quickly. Says just the tanks here. And uThermal's push is going to be turned away. And that's going to be ShoWTimE actually coming out of this in a rather good position if you look at things. He's actually doubling the army supply and a bit more. His work count's pretty solid. The only thing that's really lacking is the lack of the third base. He's picking off medevacs as they pop as well, at least getting them low. And that's some really valuable pickups. ShoWTimE, I mean, this was, I guess, I wouldn't say it wasn't actually, I guess it wasn't looking good in the sense he lost his third base, but he did have this 30-kill Oracle, and that's pretty insane. And that's something which is really just kept this game in ShoWTimE's favor, it seems, for the most part. Is he going to push forwards right now? Is he going to commit into this position? There's 2 turrets surrounding these tanks. There's a little bit of a wall coming up as well, so it's a tough one to decide if you want to really attack or not. Revelation coming down, uThermal trying to finish the wall, which he will manage to do. And that's important, being able to block these adepts out is going to be a really key feature of this game in the coming moments. Phoenix just gathering together to the right-hand side now then. So they're going to join towards the right, and well, we see some Marines coming back onto the ramp here, figuring out what else is going on. A couple more Marines continuing to pop out of these barracks, and actually there's a little bit of a stim. These Phoenix taking a few shots of damage right there, and actually dropping rather low already, so Phoenix do start to drop a little bit low right now, and a Stalker, a few of these adepts from ShoWTimE, well, they're just going to start pulling back down towards the bottom left-hand side of the map once more. SCVs continue to be picked off by the Phoenix right now. Marines will stem forwards, and a little bit of a difficult position here as you're actually going to be seeing, oh man, multiple Phoenix starting to go down. So uThermal will clean up a few, and he's actually going to get a few more as Marines just sit to this left-hand side, gets one more, gets another low. But ShoWTimE's making all the right decisions, I feel. He's in a good position. And so what he's doing is he's from a good position, he's getting further ahead, right? He's adding on a second Robo facility. He's going into the Robo Bay, plus 2 attackers on the way down. He's transitioning away from this Phoenix Adept playstyle. I remember some games at IEM Katowice, ZestTY comes to mind. ZestTY was this series where Zest just kept going. Phoenix Adept, which is fine, it was powerful. But he never stopped. He just kept on pushing out Phoenixes and Adepts and Phoenix and Adepts, and he never transitioned, and that becomes very weak. As soon as the Terran player starts to get up a bit of a sizable army, all of a sudden you're just going to be throwing away units because the Terran army is actually very good against Phoenix Adept in larger numbers. Phoenix Adept is almost like Roach Ravager, where it works really well because you get so much of it and it trades so well and efficiently when the Terran player doesn't have a lot of Widow Mines, when he has a lower bio count. But as the bio count grows, as there's more Widow Mines brought in, your Phoenix Adept will just absolutely melt. So you see the 4th base of ShoWTimE under a little bit of pressure right here. Revelation drops to keep an eye on these medevacs, which is something at least, but 4 workers killed, good pressure by uThermal. The drop to the south side of the map as well will also be pressuring. You're going to be seeing, oh, another scan just coming down. Adepts continue to take some damage here and continue to drop down actually. There's the medevacs lifting up and backing away up the left-hand side. You can see this Warp Prism going to come forwards as well here, looking to see what else he can do. So a few Adepts going to drop on down. Actually, SCVs are already starting to drop. 2 free workers going down already. And this missile turret, well, that's going to go down as well. Potentially, no. He's going to lift up and get out of there. But still, good pressure by ShoWTimE. I mean, uThermal's done a good job to pull himself back into this a little bit. From what was a big army supply deficit, he's definitely fighting back. His upgrades are looking good as well. He's actually going to maintain a +2 armor upgrade lead in the near future when his own +2 finishes. But now it's just going to be a +1 armor upgrade lead, although he's also behind an attack upgrade until his +2 finishes as well. So, bits and pieces. This is nice. Continue to kill off a few of these workers now and then. 13 minutes in on cross-spawn honor grounds, and, well, 4 base pros against the 3 base Terran. I guess uThermal shortly will probably be thinking about relocating one of these orbitals over to this far right-hand side. Both these medevacs still flying around, seeing where they can go next, and having to think as to what they might want to try and get up to. 2 more Stalkers warping in, another Colossus about to pop from this Robo. And these units just pushing forwards and ready to start gathering up towards the left-hand side here. So these units are all just gathering up still, and still a few Marines as well, just pushing back a Warp Prism. And just a couple of moments of silence, a couple of moments of passiveness from both players, nothing too exciting happening for a while. You actually see uThermal pushing out with a large Marine tank army. Reminds me of actually back when one of the most iconic uThermal ShoWTimE matches for me has to be DreamHack Leipzig in the quarterfinals. And uThermal back then was playing this very unique style against Protoss. He was obviously being very aggressive with like a Cyclone and Marines early in the game. But he was also playing a very interesting mid-game and late game, which was almost, I wouldn't say late game, because it was very much so like a free base Marine tank all in. And this looks very much so like this right now. And it was actually, that was one of the composition uThermal was playing when ShoWTimE had that massive stasis ward on Ruins of Seras in game number 3, which actually turned the game around, won in the game in the end. And as uThermal sieging up a lot of tanks over here. At the same time, Adepts on the other side of the map picking up a few of the workers. But my whole point is that it's looking very similar to that right now from uThermal. Big Marine tank army really just looking to basically have one very aggressive push. And this push is very much so be-all and end-all, because if he doesn't shut down this army heavily in his own favor, I don't think uThermal's composition is going to keep him in the game much longer. He's going to have to start going in towards Vikings and other things as well to deal with the incoming Archons and whatever else. So let's see how this goes. Spreading out quite nicely so far. The power of the tanks is what's maybe making this very viable. Back on the start of Legacy of the Void, the tank-evac playstyles is what made it viable back then, but now the tanks are doing a little bit more damage. Maybe that's why uThermal feels he can get away with this right here. And as we do just see him sat back, +2 armor advantage is nice, although it's about to be limited to just a 1 armor upgrade lead. But it's still an upgrade lead as here we go. Tanks, a few of them not sieged up completely. Marines will stim in from all of the angles, and let's see how this goes down, because really, it's a bit of a massacre on either side. Tanks are firing away, Adepts are disappearing, but if those Marines push further forwards, the Colossi are going to continue to clean out so much more as well. And so while ShoWTimE falls a little bit further behind in army supply, I would say his army is a little bit more valuable here. A lot of these Marines will still just melt. But that said, I guess that's what the tanks are there for, to stop these Colossi from getting too close. As you see reinforcements coming across the map. 4 more tanks, another couple medevacs worth of Marines here. And that's going to be more and more for uThermal to push forwards with at this point. So let's see what he can do as this Oracle comes forwards. Another Revelation drops down on these Marines, on these tanks. And still just pushing in. We're going to see an overcharge actually coming down on this pylon over here. That's not going to really do anything at all. A couple more High Templar, a couple more Adepts. I guess it keeps uThermal from pushing too much further in, but I think uThermal's quite happy to just sit on his siege tanks. Orbital to the far right from uThermal, set up as his 4th base. That was his main base, just relocating. We mentioned that that was most likely going to be happening because, again, in this sort of situation, he's been fairly low on eco through the game. He doesn't really have the money to do too much difference. Sorry for the graphs there momentarily, messing up the hotkeys. As we do see now this engagement happening. ShoWTimE attacks on in. uThermal, he's stimming forwards with Marines, and they're starting to get rid of some of these Colossi, but actually Zealot's connected on the tanks, and ShoWTimE is going to start cleaning this up. uThermal going to have to start just lifting up, backing away, and actually only gets out of there with 2 medevacs, 1 Marine. He's going to immediately load up a dropship. Or maybe 2, or maybe he just wanted the 1. I don't know. It looks like a little bit messy for him. But ShoWTimE turns that away, and uThermal, well, what now? I guess uThermal is in this position, actually, where he's still looking pretty okay. Triple mule of 52 workers against the 50. He's ahead in army supplies. Upgrades about to hit 3-3 against 2-1. It's going to be a huge upgrade lead for uThermal to work with, and those upgrades might make a large difference going into the future fights here. We've seen actually the fights so far have been pretty reasonably balanced between either player. You know, neither player's been taking fights which are like, oh my god, game ending or anything, right? But I think that can change very quickly with an extra set of upgrades. It will start to tilt things in uThermal's favor, despite what is the lower tech army for him in general, just on Marine tanks still. 17 minutes in. Stimming forwards now. He's actually going to get a Colossus with a group of Marines. It's a really nice pick-off as he's looking to drop in this position too, and that could be +2 armor going goodbye right here. A couple of tanks going to start dropping down and sieging up as well. The Marines will join in with these Adepts. I mean, that's the upgrade advantage now in play, and that's why these Marines are helping through, shooting their way through this so quickly. And ShoWTimE going to have to respond. Where is units? Well, there comes the Colossi starting to move forwards. Has to be careful though. Tanks will be in range of it and will start to fire onto it. Oh no, Colossi is going to go down to 2 tanks. And that shouldn't have really happened here. uThermal will still have just a little bit left over. Kills a high energy mothership core as well. What is going on? Probes 2 pulling into this right here. At the same time, a few SCVs have gone down across the map. Honestly, I'm not sure what to at this point. Been paying a bit too much attention over here perhaps. And these 2 tanks are still going absolutely huge right now. Does he get rid of this Colossus? Don't think so. But man, he killed a lot with these siege tanks. And that's uThermal trading very well once again in what is game 3 of this series. Pulling back now with the medevacs then, and he does have more Marines and a couple more tanks to go back to, but still, it's only Marine tank that he's playing with right now. It is not exactly the best of compositions. But what does ShoWTimE have, realistically? If we look at his army, well, he's got a few Archons, he's got one Colossus left over. I actually feel Marine Tank is pretty good against a Mortal Archon. It's the Colossi that can do so well against it, and Storms as well especially. But we don't see any of that right now from ShoWTimE, and so this army is actually probably the weakest we've seen from ShoWTimE for quite a while. Not just in terms of numbers, but also just in terms of how many valuable units does he really have in here. And I would count the valuable units right now as really just being Colossi. Yeah, Archons help, Immortals are cool too, but I don't think the Immortals are going to connect on the tanks, so they're not that useful. And I feel the Archons are just going to disappear so quickly to the Marines with the upgrade leads, so I don't know what really is going to happen right now for ShoWTimE. He's got to try and make something happen, surely. Marines stimmed in again, a few more probes going down. This pylon is going to get cleaned out as well, so that pylon falls. A few more Marines from uThermal back into the natural expansion. If he kills this pylon, that's once again +2 armor, not going to be finishing. And that's going to be so painful as ShoWTimE is more or less being pushed into an all-in position now because these drops are still doing damage. It's so frustrating. One more medevac loads up and starts to go across the map. uThermal will start to evacuate away from the right-hand side base here. He still just has a lot of Marines. Doesn't want to lose the command center. He's still only on 3 orbitals. This natural orbital now relocating to what is the 5th base in towards the center of the map. This army of ShoWTimE is still looking to see what he can maybe get done here. As here we go, pushing on in. I mean, this is the fight which basically determines the game for ShoWTimE, because if he doesn't win it, he doesn't have anything to really rebuild with, I don't think. You can see his units are just disappearing. Those upgrades allowing the Marines to shred this army. GG. uThermal picks up the 3rd game of this best of 3. And a pretty intense 3rd game.